Larks are getting set to go in this final game of this 3-game series as they take on the Denver Cougars in a non-league game after winning last night by a final score of 6-3. As we welcome you into the pregame show here at Larks Park, I'm Hank Corsair. And looking back at last night, the Larks had another strong performance against the Cougars. They jumped out to a 2-0 lead after 2 innings with some runs from C.J. Reed and Lorenzo Rios. And they controlled the game throughout with the starting pitching from Braxton Buer going 4 innings of work, only allowing 3 hits and getting 2 strikeouts on the day. And the Larks just kind of held on to that lead for the rest of the game. They would score 1 run each in the 4th and the 6th inning, and they would score their final 2 runs in the 7th to hold on to that 6-0 lead. But the Cougars, they did not go away easily. They were able to put up 3 runs in the 8th inning from Christian Lopez, Carter Olek, and Cameron Barrows. But the Larks were able to pull through in the end, winning by a final score of 6-3 to improve to 4-1 in RMBL play and 6-1-1 overall on the year. And it's really just been awesome to watch how this Larks team has performed in this series. Just looking back in that first game, Tabor Stokes really helped out the team with 3 hits and 3 runs. Dalton Campbell made his second start of the season. He only allowed 2 hits on the Cougars, obviously threw a scoreless game and had 7 strikeouts on the night. And Brady Kreitzer, who is only on the team temporarily until everybody comes in, he is making a name for himself. 3 hits and 4 RBIs in that game. And then in Game 2 last night, we mentioned C.J. Reed. He had 2 runs on the night. Julio Ramos came in as relief. He's been one of the key relief pitchers for the Larks this year. Only 2 innings, but had 3 strikeouts. And Lorenzo Rios, who was our batter of the game from last night, had 2 hits and 2 runs. And overall for this Larks team, they've outscored the Cougars 21-3 in the first 2 games in the series. They entered tonight with a .323 batting average. And for the pitching, they've actually recorded twice as many strikeouts as hits in this series as I have it. The Larks pitching has about 19 strikeouts and only 10 allowed hits in the first 2 games. And as we enter tonight's game, it's a non-league game starting an hour earlier. We could see a potential sweep here for the Larks. We keep noting that they're first in the RMBL this early in the season, even though they started later than a lot of the other teams. They are looking to continue their success against the Denver Cougars. They enter tonight since 2020, the Larks are 24-3 against the Cougars and have not lost to them since 2021. And they'll be looking to get another win tonight. And we will have first pitch for you when we come back in approximately 11 minutes. Starting a little bit earlier than usual, but it is time for some baseball here at Larks Park on this Sunday night as the Larks take on the Denver Cougars in the final game of this three-game series. This one a non-league matchup. As we're about set to get underway, Nick Gray will get the start on the mound for the Larks, his second of the season. He's already pitched in 6 2/3 innings and has a 2.10 ERA on the year and one of the lowest opponent batting averages for this Larks team. And he'll start off against number 8 Carter Olek. The first pitch will be left down low for ball 1. First pitch tonight comes at 6:05 p.m. It is 87 degrees at first pitch, mostly sunny. We got 12 mile per hour winds, and it is very humid today. So this one a ground ball. They'll be fielded by Lorenzo Rios. He'll underhand toss it to Nick Gray, and there is out number 1. First time we're seeing Lorenzo Rios play at first base this season. He's got a bit all over the place, but he gets the play there for out number 1. So with 1 away, that'll take us to number 14 for the Cougars, Alden Quintanilla. The first baseman went 0 for 3 in last night's game and didn't play the entirety. He was subbed out for another pinch hitter for the Cougars in the 8th inning. As the count will start off 1-0. Quintanilla, a sophomore from Granada Hills, California, also played at Colorado Mesa this last season. Count has now moved to 1-1. Here is the rest of the order for the Denver Cougars here in the top of the first inning. They will go with Riley Hall, who is on deck. Finn O'Connor's in the hole. After that, it'll be Blake Roberts, Ian Laird, Zeke Minnick, Ethan Jackson, and then the final batter in the order is number 1, Dakota Alber. Count is now tied up at 2-1 for Quintanilla against Nick Gray. And we'll take a look at the Larks' defensive alignment in just a second. This one is swing and a miss, moving the count to 2-2. In the outfield for the Larks, they will go with Dylan LaRue in left field, Trent Baker back into the rotation, and outfield at center field. And in right field is number 4, Brady Kreitzer. Gray delivers the 2-2. That one takes a bounce before it reaches the plate, and the count is now full. On the infield for the Larks will be Mason Hamlin at third base. Next to him is Tabor Stokes at shortstop and C.J. Reed at second base. Lorenzo Rios is playing first, and the catcher tonight is number 25, Paul Smith. There's Nick Gray trying to win the battle early. This one a slow ground ball will be recovered by Gray, and he will give it over to Rios for out number 2. First out of the game was a 3-1 play. The second one is a 1-3 play, and that will take us to the designated hitter in the order, Riley Hall. Hall made 1 appearance in last night's game. He was actually the pinch hitter that was subbed in for Quintanilla. He is in the lineup tonight batting third. Pitch on the way. Swing and a miss, and the count is now 0-1. This one catches the low outside corner. Now Hall has to try and fight back as the count is now sitting at 0-2. Hall played this last season at the D2 level with Eastern New Mexico. Native of Las Cruces. Left down in the dirt, there's ball 1. This is the 6th game Riley Hall has played in this season. And the pitch on the way will be called ball 2 on the low and outside. This is just the 15th at-bat for him this season. As Gray will deliver. This one will be fouled out of play near the fan picnic pavilion. Count will stay at 2-2, and we got the 6th pitch of the at-bat coming up next. Nick Gray trying to go for a 3-up, 3-down inning as he kicks and deals. Swing and a miss, and there is his first strikeout of the day, and it's a 3-up, 3-down inning. The Larks will be up to bat next when we come back. Anytime you want to experiment with new lineups and new batting orders in Summer League Baseball, it's best to do it in a non-league game, and that is exactly what the Larks are doing tonight. As you take a look at the batting order on your screen, a lot of changes made tonight, and including the first batter up coming up right here is the shortstop Tabor Stokes, batting in the leadoff spot after batting fifth in last night's game, and he will face off against the pitcher for the Cougars, who was actually a batter in last night's game in their leadoff spot, and that is Christian Lopez, who has reached twice in the 2 games that he's appeared in, both of those on airs. Count will start off 1-0 against Stokes. That one will be left high and outside. Stokes ahead now 2-0. On deck for the Larks is Trent Baker in the hole, Jackson Babcock. And we'll take a look at the Cougars defensive lineman in just a second. Hard hit ball into left field, but Albers is there. And he makes the catch for out number 1. Anytime you hear the lyrics, "Here Comes the Money," that means one thing: Trent Baker coming up to the plate. The center fielder was walked twice in last night's game, also had a stolen base. We'll see what he does right here. After Trent Baker, the rest of the Larks lineup looks like this: Jackson Babcock at the DH spot, Paul Smith batting 4th, Dylan LaRue at 5th. The 6th batter tonight is Brady Kreitzer. And rounding out the final 3 in the order are Lorenzo Rios, Mason Hamlin, and C.J. Reed. As the count starts off 0-1 to the center fielder from Lamar. The outfield tonight for the Cougars will be Dakota Alber in left field. In center field is Blake Roberts. The right fielder is number 10, Zeke Minnick. Count now 0-2 to Trent Baker. The third baseman tonight for the Cougars is Ian Laird. The shortstop is Finn O'Connor. Next to him is the second baseman, Carter Olek. And the first baseman is number 14, Alden Quintanilla. Count now 1-2 to Baker. And Denver's catcher tonight is number 21, Ethan Jackson. Pitch on the way. This one will go out of play near the bullpen for the Cougars, and the count will stay at 1-2. Just like the Larks are experimenting a little bit with their lineup tonight, the Cougars are doing the same. Their first 4 batters played in last night's game. The other 5 are new into the lineup tonight. That one just misses outside as Baker tries to fight back, moving the count to 2-2. Ground ball going towards Quintanilla. He will field it and just wave off his pitcher as he goes to first base, and there's out number 2. With 2 away, that'll bring up Jackson Babcock for the Larks. Batting in 3rd in the order for the first time this season. He was batting 4th last night, and he recorded a walk and a double in the 6-3 win over the Cougars last night. Throughout this series, we've been seeing the Cougars pitchers trying to work the ball around the zone to try to get in a spot where Babcock can't hit it. But we've seen him walk quite a bit in this series. Count will start off 1-0 to the freshman from Colorado School of Mines. That one finds the inside. Count is now 1-1. That one misses down low as the count ties back up at 2-1. Babcock very dangerous at the plate for the Larks. Leads the team in both hits and walks, 13 each. As he moves ahead in the count, is now it's now at 3-1. Swings and misses, and now the count is sitting at full. As the Larks trying to get some runners on here in the bottom of the first inning. They've gotten at least one runner on in each of the first 2 games of this series. So this one's popped up high into the air. Laird will run after it, trying to stay in the field of play, and this one will land foul as Laird just missed it. He had his glove out with his underhand. And it just fell right in front of him as the count stays at 3-2. This will be the 7th pitch of the at-bat. And there is ball 4 to Jackson Babcock. So you can make that the entire series that the Larks have gotten at least one runner on in the first inning. And that will bring up the catcher wearing number 25, Paul Smith. From Flower Mound, Texas, finished his junior year with the Rice Owls. Moves up to the 4 spot after a strong performance in last night's game, going 2 for 3 with a single and an RBI double. Down low, the count will start off 1-0. He thought about going around but held back just enough. Babcock takes a short lead at first base. This one left on the outside, moves the count to 2-0. Lopez delivers the pitch. Just barely misses the zone, and now it's a 3-0 count. And that one will get away from the catcher, but it doesn't matter. Babcock will move to second, and on 4 pitches, Paul Smith will take first base. That'll now take us to the left fielder for the Larks, Dylan LaRue. And already we're going to see the head coach for the Cougars, Mark Carullo, make his way out to the mound to have a meeting with Christian Lopez. He's only pitched in one other game this season, and in that game he was a relief pitcher that only went for 1 inning, allowing a hit, a run, and a strikeout, which currently puts him with the lowest walks and hits per innings pitched on the team at right at 1. And he has a .333 opponent batting average on the year. So after the short meeting, Dylan LaRue will make his way to the plate. Reached base 3 times last night with a single and 2 walks. And LaRue is playing in left field tonight, was at third base last night. And both Lopez and Jackson will make their way back to their respective spots after a short meeting. Another one left high and outside will start the count at 1-0 to the left fielder. Dylan LaRue just finished up his junior season with the Cumberland Phoenix at the NAIA level. Ahead in the count now at 2-0. Looking for another strong performance in tonight's game, as LaRue is currently on a 3-game hitting streak. This is the 8th game that he's played in this season. As he's working ahead in the count, Babcock is at second, Smith is at first. This one just barely misses inside. Another 3-0 count for the Larks. We mentioned LaRue was walked 2 times in last night's game. As the pitch is on the way, there is ball 4. The Larks got out on the first 2 at-bats of this inning. They now have the bases loaded on 3 straight walks, and that will bring up the right fielder, Brady Kreitzer. We now have a courtesy runner at second base for the Larks. In place of Paul Smith, we'll take a look at who that is. That is number 8, Lane Sparks. I think they were waiting for Smith to get into scoring position before they made that change. Left high and outside, the count is 1-0 to Brady Kreitzer. Had another strong showing last night with a single and a solo home run. Leads the Larks in batting average and OPS. So this will be his 14th at-bat in his 5th game of the season. The count is now sitting at 2-0. Lopez delivers. Finds the zone for strike 1. Left way outside. Kreitzer is now sitting at 3-1. Kreitzer's up 3 spots in the batting order after batting 9th for pretty much the entire time he's been here with the Larks. And he is walked, and that'll bring a run home. That's Jackson Babcock crossing the plate, and Kreitzer is headed down to first base. Four straight walks for the Larks, and now we're going to get a meeting here as home plate umpire Randy Jordan is going to come up and have a talk with the pitcher. Not sure what it's about. Looks like he took his glove off. But it looks like Christian Lopez is now going to leave the game, and Carullo just signaled over to the bullpen. We're already going to have a change here for the Cougars. We'll take a look at who that is when we come back. After only facing 6 batters, the Cougars will make a call to the bullpen and bring in number 22, Nate Huiskin from Frederick, Colorado, and Dakota Wesleyan. And he will face off first against Lorenzo Rios. From the way it looks, it looked like the starter for the Cougars, Christian Lopez, might have gotten injured after that final batter he faced, Brady Kreitzer. He was holding his hand out as he went to the dugout, and then that's when the head coach for the Cougars came out and signaled over to the bullpen. And on the very first pitch, Lorenzo Rios will get hit, and he will head down to first base. And that's now the 6th time that Rios has been hit by a pitch this season. And he brings home Paul Smith and gives the Larks a 2-0 lead. I'll now bring up the third baseman wearing number 7, Mason Hamlin. Back in the order tonight, as Huiskin will deliver. This one finds his own, starting the count at 0-1. Mason Hamlin, a junior from Oklahoma, played his first two years of college baseball in the Lone Star Conference with UT Permian Basin. Working against an 0-1 count. There is ball 1. Taking a look at the pitcher in now for the Cougars, Nate Huiskin. This is his 2nd appearance on the year. His first one was actually a start where he went 4 innings and allowed 5 hits and 5 runs, but recorded 3 strikeouts. He played this season at Dakota Wesleyan, made 16 appearances, and now Hamlin will drop this one towards the right fielder, and he's got an RBI single that's heading home as Brady Kreitzer make that a 2 RBI single. A 4-0 Larks lead on a huge hit there for Mason Hamlin. Lorenzo Rios will stay at second base as the Larks extend their lead. And that takes us now to the final batter in the order, C.J. Reed.
The second baseman from Ohio State University, number 1, C.J. Reed.
C.J. Reed comes up to the plate going 1 for 3 in last night's game with a single and 2 runs. Swings and misses, starting the count at 0-1. Larks holding on to a 4-0 lead after starting the first inning with 2 outs. 4 straight walks would occur. Lorenzo Rios would get hit by a pitch, and then we just saw that 2 RBI single by Mason Hamlin. Left down low, the count now stands at 1-1. That one, a swing and a miss, moves the count to 1-2. As Huiskin looks for his 4th strikeout of the year. And looking to get the 3rd and final out after the last 6 batters have gotten on base. That one just misses the zone on the outside, moving the count to 2-2. C.J. Reed has gotten a hit in 7 of his last 8 games. Looking to keep the inning going and bring the Larks back to the top of their order with Tabor Stokes, who is on deck. And that one finds it on the inside, and there is the strikeout. But the Larks score 4 runs in the first inning. All 4 of those guys to score got walked. They would be brought home. They would be brought home by a walk from Brady Kreitzer, a hit by a pitch for Lorenzo Rios, and a 2 RBI single by Mason Hamlin. We'll see what the Larks do next as Nick Gray heads back to the mound when we come back. Larks score 4 runs on 1 hit and leave just 2 guys stranded as they go through their entire lineup in the bottom of the first inning. As we go to the top of the second after Nick Gray pitched a 3-3 down inning to the Cougars in the first, they'll face off against Finn O'Connor. Pitch on the way will be low and outside for ball 1. O'Connor went 1 for 4 in last night's game with a single and also had an RBI. Batting 4th in the order for the Cougars for the second straight game. The count is now at 2-0. He batted 3rd in the first game when the Larks won 15-0. This one finds the strike zone, moves the count to 2-1. O'Connor leads the Cougars in slugging and OPS this season at .737 and 1.257. Leaving that one low, the count now stands at 3-1. This game started an hour earlier than the usual time, but we've got a great showing tonight here at Larks Park. The fans filling in the grandstand. We also have a few fans watching on the walkway in the outfield, as it's a 5-pitch walk for Finn O'Connor. He will be the first Cougar to get on base tonight. And that takes us to the first of 5 new Cougars in the order tonight, with the center fielder wearing number 9, Blake Roberts. Just played his sophomore season at Monterey Peninsula. This is just the second game he's appeared in this season. Gray delivers the pitch, swing and a miss, starts the count off at 0-1. O'Connor takes a short lead over at first base. Gray delivers. That one's left inside for ball 1. For Blake Roberts, this is his second at-bat of the season. That one will be fouled back. I think that one went off the mask of the catcher for the Larks, Paul Smith. But Gray's now ahead in the count at 1-2. Gray already has 1 strikeout in this game. It was the final out of the first inning against Riley Hall. Looking for out number 1 on the 1-2 count. That one will be a ball as we'll get a stolen base here for Finn O'Connor. C.J. Reed was the one that got the ball on the throwdown, but it was a little too far wide, and O'Connor takes second base. Gray looks back at second base, watching for another potential steal from O'Connor, but it's a swing and a miss, and there is the second strikeout of the day for Gray, as there's 1 away here in the top of the second inning. That'll bring up the third baseman for the Cougars, Ian Laird. The junior from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Making his first plate appearance of the season. Another player for this Cougars team that we're seeing out of Dakota Wesleyan at the NAIA level. This one's fouled back, starting the count at 0-1. O'Connor takes a lead over at second base. That was just the 4th stolen base this season for the Cougars. They've been caught twice, including once in this series. Count now stands at 1-1 to Laird. Zeke Minnick is on deck for the Cougars, and in the hole is Ethan Jackson. That one breaks back into the zone. Count now stands at 1-2. Laird at a .258 average with 16 RBIs and 16 runs this season with Dakota Wesleyan. Like I just mentioned, this is his first at-bat of the season. And it's a swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts there for Nick Gray. Puts 2 away in the top of the second. That'll now take us to the right fielder, Zeke Minnick. He appeared in the first game of this series where he was struck out twice and was also hit by a pitch in the 4th inning in a game that was decided in 7. Count will start off 1-0 to Minnick. Playing in right field, though is listed as a catcher on the Cougars roster. Has a .471 on-base percentage this season. Fouls this one out of play into the parking lot of doom. Count is now at 1-1. Minnick just wrapped up his junior season. He played at the Division I level in the Summit League with the Omaha Mavericks. Gray delivers the 1-1, swing and a miss, and he's back ahead in the count, looking for 3 straight strikeouts. That's how Gray ended the last inning. That was on a 2-2 count swinging. This one is a 1-2 count. That one will find the zone, and he catches him looking. 3 straight strikeouts for Nick Gray after walking the first batter in the top of the second. The Larks take a 4-0 lead into the bottom half of the inning, and they're back to the top of their order when we come back. Special thank you to our sponsors that you see there on the screen, and we'll also give a shout out to today's game day sponsors, Hayes Masonic Lodge and Balanced Health and Chiropractic. Because of those 2 sponsors, admission is free tonight for Larks fans. We go to the bottom of the second, and we're back to the top of their order with Tabor Stokes. After the Larks went through all 9 of their batters in the first inning, scoring 4 runs on just 1 hit. Count starts off 0-1 to Tabor Stokes. A sophomore from Hutchinson Community College that just announced earlier this week that he will be playing in the MAC next season at Ball State. Count now moves to 1-1 as Stokes leaves that pitch on the outside. Left side of the infield playing a little further back, and now the right side does the same thing for the Cougars. Inside, the count is now tied up at 2-1. Stokes enters tonight with a .475 on-base percentage this season. He's gotten a hit in 7 of the 8 games that he's played in, and that one will hit him, and he will make his way down to first base. The second Hayes Lark batter to be hit tonight, and that takes us now to Trent Baker. Stokes will take off his gloves and then make his way down to first base. A little bit slow as that last pitch hit him on the leg. But we'll see what he does on the base path tonight. Stokes has scored 8 runs on the year and also has 5 stolen bases. As the Larks leader in RBIs comes up to the plate, Trent Baker. The pitch on the way will get away from the catcher, but it doesn't go far, and that will keep Tabor Stokes at first base. Baker put the ball in play in his previous at-bat. Grounded it to the first base side, and now he's ahead in the count at 2-0. Larks doing well so far as they've changed up their batting order tonight. We saw Tabor Stokes as the leadoff batter in place of Lane Sparks. Trent Baker still staying put at number 2, as the count is now at 2-1. The guy on deck for the Larks tonight is Jackson. In the 3rd spot is Jackson Babcock, moving up from the 4th spot in the order. And in the hole is Paul Smith, making his first appearance as the 4th batter. Last night he was batting 7th, but had a strong performance, going 2 for 3. Trent Baker ahead at 3-1 as he steps back into the box. Huiskin will deliver the pitch. Baker takes a swing at it, and it gets away for a full count. Working with a full count, Baker had 2 walks in last night's game. Huiskin delivers as Stokes takes off. This one a ground ball fielded by O'Connor. He will throw it down to first base, and there's out number 1, but that will advance Stokes to second base. We now go to the designated hitter, Jackson Babcock. Was the first run to score tonight after he was walked on a full count. Was brought home by an RBI walk from Brady Kreitzer. You gotta give a lot of credit to Babcock in this series. Does a great job hitting the ball, but has had great plate vision in the series, getting on base, and has had the ability to get on base. First one finds the inside part of the zone, moving the count to 0-1. I don't think Babcock went around all the way on his swing that he held back. But either way, that'll be called strike 1. Huiskin will watch Stokes at second base. Count now stands at 0-2. Babcock now is to fight back. Huiskin delivers. Left inside, and there's the first ball of the at-bat. Stokes taking a lead at second base. The Larks have successfully stolen 34 bases this season. This one popped high into the air. Getting under it is Laird at third base, and he will make the catch for out number 2. That one was in foul territory, but that's now 2 away, and that takes us to the catcher, Paul Smith. Smith was walked on 4 straight balls in the first inning. And now that there's 2 away, we'll see if the Larks get another 2-out rally going. That is when the Larks scored all their runs. The 2 leadoff batters got out in the first inning, and then the next 4 batters would score. Count will start off 1-0 to the junior from Flower Mound, Texas. Throw back to second base. Stokes was actually ahead of O'Connor on the throw back, so he didn't have to worry about getting back in time, but he slides back safely. This one will be fouled back, and it'll go over the press box, moving the count to 1-1. As mentioned, Paul Smith just played his 3rd year of D1 baseball with the Rice Owls. I got to talk to him a little bit about that last night. They had to work with a new coach at the midpoint of the season. He says that this year was very interesting, and the Owls are still kind of new to the American Athletic Conference, but when I asked him about that, he said that mid-major college baseball is all kind of the same because Rice used to be in the Conference USA, and then they moved to the American along with a few of their former conference mates in the Conference USA, including Florida Atlantic as well as UTSA. Count now stands at 2-2. This one will be left on the inside, and the count is now full once again. Smith is the 3rd Larks batter to be faced with a full count tonight. The first one was a walk. The last one was a ground out. We'll see what Smith does. Huiskin delivers. This one will go off the netting. Shakes the camera just a little bit, but it will stay in position and the count will stay full. Right side of the outfield for the Cougars playing back. As the pitch is on the way, swing and a miss, and there is the 3rd out of the inning. Tabor Stokes makes his way to second base after getting hit by a pitch, but 3 outs follow after that. And the 8-9-1 batters will be up next for the Cougars when we come back. After getting 3 strikeouts to end the last inning, Nick Gray will make his way back to the mound to face off against Ethan Jackson, Dakota Albert, and Carter Olek for the Cougars. The first pitch of the inning is on the way. This one a line drive headed towards right field. This one looks like it's going to go foul, and it will go out of the field of play, starting the count at 0-1. Ethan Jackson playing in his 5th game this season. Plays 3 different positions for the Cougars at catcher, infielder, and pitcher. He is behind the plate tonight for the Cougars. Now has to try to fight back as the count is now setting at 0-2. Nick Gray has 4 strikeouts in tonight's game. Only 1 Cougar has gotten on base. And that was a walk to Finn O'Connor to start the second inning. As this one gets down in the dirt, the count will move to 1-2. Gray will deliver. That one just misses outside in the count, and that's now 2 balls in the count. Smith wants it near the middle and outside, and a swing and a miss. That will be a drop third strike. As Smith will take his time, he'll give it over to his college teammate Lorenzo Rios, and there's 1 out. Five Ks now on the day for Nick Gray, and that takes us to the final batter in the order for the Cougars, Dakota Albert. Freshman from Western Nebraska Community College. I'll hit this one foul and out of play, moving the count to 0-1. There was a reaction from the crowd, not sure. That might have hit a car in the parking lot of Doom, but not quite sure. Hard to tell from where we're sitting. But Dakota Albert now at 0-2 in the count. Playing in his 2nd game of the season. He's playing in center field tonight as coming out of high school in Commerce City, Colorado. Was listed as one of the top outfielders in the class of 2024, and he strikes out looking. There is 5 straight strikeouts now for Nick Gray, and they go back to the top of their order with Carter Olek. Olek was the first out of the game as on a 1-0 count. He grounded out to Lorenzo Rios at first base. As the Cougars still in search of their first hit in this game. The 1-0 on the way from Gray. Down low, but it finds the zone. There is strike 1. Olek is one of the returning players for this Denver Cougars team. Played in 20 games last season. Had a .328 average and also had 11 RBIs and a .414 on-base percentage. As he swings and misses, he's now down at 1-2. Can Nick Gray do it again? He kicks and deals, and that finds the zone. 6 straight strikeouts and 7 on the day for Nick Gray. It's a 4-0 lead for the Larks going into the bottom of the 3rd. We'll see what they do next when we come back. Nate Huiskin will go back to the mound for another inning of work, and he will start off against the junior from Cumberland University, Dylan LaRue, to lead off the bottom of the third inning. First pitch left outside will be called ball one. We'll see what LaRue does this time around after walking on 4 straight balls in the first inning and eventually being the third run of the game. There is the first strike of the at-bat. Count is now tied up at 2-1. As LaRue faces off against Nate Huiskin. It was a very quick release, as we can see. He's now got to try and fight back and try to avoid another walk. The count is now setting at 3-1. The catcher wants it down the middle. This one goes inside, and there is ball 4 to Dylan LaRue. Another walk. That'll now bring up the right fielder, Brady Kreitzer. Kreitzer playing his 5th game with the Larks. Again, we keep noting just as a temporary player until everybody comes in. But he has made the most of his time so far. Leads the Larks in average tonight at .538. This one a ground ball fielded by Huiskin. He'll throw it down to first base, and there is out number 1 as LaRue makes his way to second. That'll now bring up the 8th Street Liquor Beverage batter, Lorenzo Rios. He was the first batter to face off against Nate Huiskin, and he was hit by a pitch on the very first throw, and that brought in the second run of the game, Paul Smith. Huiskin takes a look back at second, throws this one low and outside for ball 1. Rios takes a swing at this one. This one will go foul. The count now stands at 1-1. And this one will hit Rios. And that's the second time that he's been hit today. And that's now 7 times that he's been hit this season, as he will now occupy first base.
The third baseman, number 7, Mason Devlin.
I'll now bring up the third baseman that had an RBI single in his 2 RBI single rather in his first at bat from Oklahoma, Mason Hamlin. Left down low, the count will start off 1-0. As the Larks looking to add some more runs, only working with one out here in the bottom of the third and a runner in scoring position. All the runs so far came in the first inning. That one finds the zone low and outside, and the count now stands at 1-1 to Mason Hamlin. With that RBI single that he had in his first at bat, he now has 3 hits on the season. He's gotten 1 hit in each game that he's appeared in. And the count now standing at 1-2. Leiskin still watching second base as he starts his windup. This one goes foul down the third base line, as Hamlin will keep the count at 1-2. This one goes inside, taking the count to 2-2. The catcher, Ethan Jackson, was positioning his glove on the outside. And it goes to the opposite end, but either way, the count is now at 2-2. This one will get away from the catcher. It's a wild pitch. It'll move LaRue to third and Rios to second. For the 4th time tonight, we'll see a Hayes Lark work with a full count. Larks are 1 for 3 on the night working with it. We'll see if Hamlin gets on for the 2nd time tonight, and he does just that. He will walk on a full count after a 7-pitch at-bat. That'll leave the bases loaded and bring up C.J. Reed. Reed scored 2 runs against the Cougars last night, also had a single, and overall went 1 for 3 on the night. The runner at third is Dylan LaRue. At second base is Lorenzo Rios, and Mason Hamlin will occupy first. This one a high fly ball into left field. Albert will run back for it. He'll make the catch, but this will be a sacrifice fly as LaRue will make his way home, and the Larks take a 5-0 lead. RBI number 7 on the year for C.J. Reed, and that will bring the Larks back to the top of their order for the 3rd time today in just 3 innings with Tabor Stokes. Tabor Stokes reached second base in his previous appearance. He was hit by a pitch on a 2-1 count and was able to advance after a ground ball from Trent Baker. This one will roll away from the catcher. Both runners from the Larks will advance. Lorenzo Rios was already in scoring position. Make that 2 runners for the Larks in scoring position. Huiskin delivers the pitch. This one a line drive into right center field. Running after it is Roberts. He'll make the diving play but can't get it. 2 runs will score as Tabor Stokes gets an RBI single. And you could officially say that's another 2-out rally starting here for the Larks, as they now have just 1 runner on, 3 runs scored in this inning, and that takes us now to Trent Baker. Pitch on the way will be outside. A stolen base attempt here for Stokes. He is there in plenty of time as he steals second base. Baker now working ahead with a count at 2-0. Huiskin continuing to watch second base as he delivers. That one catches the outside part of the plate and ties the count up. This one a ground ball by Baker, diving play made by Quintanilla. He will toss it over to his pitcher, and there is out number 3. But the Larks continue to add on to their lead. They take a 7-0 lead to the top of the 4th inning, as the Cougars will bring up Alden Quintanilla, Riley Hall, and Finn O'Connor when we come back. After 3 innings of work, Nick Gray's day comes to an end, and what a performance it was. He pitches a no-hitter tonight and gets 7 strikeouts on the day, as the Larks will make a call to the bullpen, and for the second time this series, we will see Jordan Stribling take over the duties on the mound. His first appearance in the series was the final 2 innings of Game 1, where he only allowed 2 hits, didn't allow any runs, and had 3 strikeouts in that game. The count will start off 0-1 against Alden Quintanilla. Quintanilla was faced with a full count in his first at-bat. He grounded out to Nick Gray on the mound where he would toss it over to Lorenzo Rios for out number 2. Count now stands at 0-2. Stribling delivers, and this one will hit Quintanilla in the back, and he will head down to first base. That'll now bring up the designated hitter, Riley Hall. He struck out swinging on a 2-2 count in the first inning. We'll see what he does this time around. Line drive. This one will go foul. And that'll make the count 0-1. That one will go on the inside, moving the count to 1-1. Riley Hall, Division II player for this Cougars team, plays for the Eastern New Mexico Greyhounds. Is also a native of New Mexico in Las Cruces. Count moves to 2-1. He played in 6 games this season with the Greyhounds and is looking to get some experience with the bats this year with the Cougars, because he was primarily used as a pinch runner this season, as he scored 3 runs and only had 1 at-bat on the year. Swing and a miss, moves the count now to 2-2. The runner at first base is Alden Quintanilla, just the second Cougar to get on base tonight. Count is now full. As Stribling tries to get strikeout number 9 on the season, or get some help from his fielders and get out number 1. Hall will make his way down to first base as he walks on the full count. And Smith will make his way to the mound for a short meeting with Stribling. It's about the best situation that you could work in with 2 runners on after coming in as a relief pitcher. You got a 7-0 lead, nothing to worry about. Just kind of let the game come to you at this point, as that brings up the 4th batter in the order for the Cougars, Finn O'Connor. Shortstop went 1 for 4 in last night's game with a single and an RBI. It was walked on a 3-1 count in his first appearance. Stribling delivers the pitch. Catches the outside part of the plate. There is strike 1. O'Connor, a dangerous batter to face, leading the Cougars in slugging percentage at .737. Count now stands at 1-1. O'Connor's a native of Denver, Colorado. Just played this last season at Monterey Peninsula. As he swings and misses, that moves the count to 1-2. This next season, O'Connor will be transferring to Western Oregon after playing 39 games with Monterey Peninsula College. Big lead taken by Quintanilla at second base. Hard ground ball fielded by Rios. He'll try to get the double play as he gives it to Stokes. And it'll be a fielder's choice as O'Connor heads to first and Quintanilla heads to third. A good decision there made by the Larks. You leave just one runner in scoring position, and you got one out on the board. We'll now see the center fielder Blake Roberts come up to the plate. He was the first of 6 straight batters to strike out against Nick Gray in his final 6 batters that he faced. Low and outside, but it finds the zone. The count is now 0-1. Swing and a miss, and O'Connor will make his way to second base on a stolen base attempt. So the Cougars do get the 2 runners in scoring position, but Roberts is faced with a 0-2 count. We see now 2 stolen bases from the Cougars tonight. They've only had 3 successful attempts all season coming into tonight's game. That'll be the first ball of the at-bat to Blake Roberts. Swing and a miss, and there is the strikeout. Number 9 for Jordan Stribling on the season in his 4th game of the year. With 2 away, that takes us to the third baseman, Ian Laird. We'll see what Laird does this time around after he struck out swinging on a 1-2 count. Played his junior season at Dakota Wesleyan, was a transfer from Carolina University. I'll watch the first one go by for ball 1. And he brings a lot of talent to this Cougars team. Laird played high school baseball in Minneapolis, Minnesota, was a Minnesota high school all-star MVP, and was a first-team all-city selection, as he's faced now with a 2-0 count. Trying to bring the 2 runners home and try to cut into the 7-0 Hayes Larks lead. That first at-bat for Laird in the 2nd inning was just his first plate appearance of the season. The count is now tied up at 2-1. Two and 1 on the way from Stribling. Will go foul. It'll go off the netting. And the count now stands at 2-2. Stribling just needs one more pitch. And Laird will stay alive as this one goes foul. It'll be the 6th pitch of the at-bat coming up next. This one, fly ball, Rios running after it. He makes a diving catch. What a play made by Lorenzo Rios. Running into foul territory, he reaches over his shoulder and gets out number 3 and leaves the 2 runners stranded. It'll be 3, 4, and 5 up next for the Larks when we come back in the bottom of the 4th inning. Nate Huiskin came in as a relief pitcher in the first inning. He is back for the bottom of the fourth as he will face off against Jackson Babcock to start the inning. As the Larks holding on to that 7-0 lead. Count will start off 1-0. For the Larks this game, they've really been just taking advantage of the mistakes that the Cougars pitching has made, as they've only had 2 hits in the entire game in the first and the third inning. The first 4 runners got on base, or the first 4 runs that scored in the first inning for the Larks were all walked. And then in the third inning, it was kind of the same thing. 2 of those guys walked, and Lorenzo Rios was hit by a pitch. We'll see if Nate Huiskin picks things back up. He's down in the count now, 2-0. He'll deliver the pitch, and this one will go outside for ball 3. A reminder to fans in the top of the 5th inning, we'll put your Larks knowledge to the test in our trivia for tonight. That'll be the question will be revealed in the top of the 5th inning. Left outside, it's a 4-pitch walk for Jackson Babcock. He's been walked twice now in tonight's game, and that brings us to another Larks batter that has been walked once tonight. That is Paul Smith. Paul was 2 for 3 in last night's game and was walked on his first appearance in tonight's game on 4 straight balls. Batting 4th in the order for the Larks for the first time this season. He'll take a huge swing at this one and miss, moving the count to 0-1. Huiskin taking his time. He'll deliver the pitch. Inside, there is ball 1. Babcock taking a short lead over at first base. We haven't seen him made a steal attempt this season. This one fouled back, shakes the camera up a little bit. Count will now move to 1-2 for Paul Smith. Pitch on the way. A line drive. This one will take a bounce in front of the shortstop O'Connor. He'll tag second, throw down to first, and that is not in time. Smith is on for the second time tonight, this time on a fielder's choice. And there is one away here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Now making his way to the plate is the left fielder Dylan LaRue. He's already scored 2 runs in tonight's game. He walked on both of those plate appearances. We'll see what LaRue does right here with a runner on first. LaRue's gotten on base twice, as we just mentioned. He's trying to continue his 3-game hitting streak that he brings into tonight's game. Left on the inside, there is ball 1. The pitch on the way, a stolen base attempt here. And sliding in safely is the courtesy runner, Lane Sparks. Count stands at 2-0 for Dylan LaRue. On deck for the Larks is Brady Kreitzer, and in the hole is Lorenzo Rios. Line drive into right field. Minnick is running after it. He's at the wall, and say goodbye. A 2-run blast for Dylan LaRue gives the Larks a 9-0 lead. Home run number 2 on the year for the Cumberland Phoenix Jr. And now that brings up Brady Kreitzer for the Larks. Count will start off 1-0 to the Fort Hays State Tiger, Brady Kreitzer. He'll leave this one inside, and now he's ahead in the count at 2-0. Kreitzer has 1 run scored in tonight's game. He was walked on a 3-1 count, and that one would also be an RBI walk as well. Line drive. This one will be a diving catch by the shortstop, Finn O'Connor, and there's 2 away here in the bottom of the 4th inning. With 2 outs, that'll bring up the first baseman, Lorenzo Rios, playing in that position for the first time this season. And he's reached base twice tonight. Both of those he's been hit by a pitch, making it 7 times that he's been hit this season. And that one will hit him as well. 3 times tonight, and Larks fans getting a little bit frustrated with that now. But Rios will now stand at first base. So we'll now see Denver's head coach Mark Carullo make his way out to the mound. There's no one warming up currently for the Cougars, but either way, Nate Huiskin's day will come to an end. And the way it looks, the relief pitcher will be number 5, Jackson Carabajal. But we'll have the rest of the inning for you when we come back. Nate Huiskin's day will come to an end for the Denver Cougars. And they will make a call to the bullpen as they will bring in the high school senior from Riverdale Ridge in Thornton, Colorado, Jackson Carabajal. He will face off first against Mason Hamlin. Finding the zone, the count starts off 0-1. Hamlin will leave that one outside, kept moving the count to 1-1. This one a high fly ball into right field. Roberts and Minnick running after it. This one's going to take a bounce off the wall. Hamlin will make his way towards second. Rounding third is Rios. He is there in time, and the Larks take a 10-0 lead. Another strong hitting performance for the Larks. They only had two hits coming into this inning, and they have a 2-run home run on the list and a double there for Mason Hamlin with an RBI. We'll now go to the final batter in the order, C.J. Reed. He had an RBI and a fly out to left field in his previous appearance. One pitch on the way. Swing and a miss moves the count to 0-2. Like we just said, this is Jackson Carabajal's first appearance for the Cougars this season. He's committed to Monterey Peninsula College. Had a 5-4 record this season with Riverdale Ridge. He delivers the pitch. This one will go outside, and there's ball one. Right now he's going up against a batter who is a native of Colorado, C.J. Reed from Colorado Springs, who is coming out of high school, was listed as one of the top 2023 catchers by Colorado Prep Report. This one breaks down the zone as Reed's fighting back. The count is at 2-2. Count is now full to C.J. Reed. We'll see what the Ohio State commit decides to do with this last pitch. Left outside, it's ball four. C.J. Reed is on base for the first time tonight. That will now bring up the top of the order with Tabor Stokes, the 8th Larks batter to appear here in the bottom of the 4th inning. He's reached base twice tonight. He was hit by a pitch in the second, one of 4 instances that a Larks pitcher was hit, or Larks batter rather, was hit by Nate Huiskin when he was pitching, and the count will start off 0-1. However, in Tabor Stokes' previous at-bat, he had a 2 RBI single in the 3rd inning and also stole second. This one a ground ball going down the first base line, and it will roll foul, and the count now stands at 0-2. The runner at second base is Mason Hamlin. At first base is C.J. Reed. Carabajal delivers. Outside, there is ball one. Jackson Caraballo going for his first strikeout of the season. A line drive. This one will go over the head of the second baseman as Mason Hamlin rounds third. That's 1 run batted in, and C.J. Reed will stop at third. An RBI single for Tabor Stokes. The second single for him tonight where he's brought home some runs. And the Larks continuing to extend their lead. The Larks go through their entire lineup for the second time tonight as Trent Baker comes up to the plate. If Trent Baker can get a hit or a walk right here, that'll mean all 9 of the Hayes Larks batters in the lineup have gotten on base tonight. We'll see what Baker does right here. The count is 0-1. We'll line this one foul, moving the count to 0-2. Baker had a really good hit in his previous at-bat in the 3rd inning. He had it in the right spot. The first baseman just made a great effort and was able to make a diving play for the out. This one a hard hit ball into right field. Minnick will run back for it, and there is out number 3. The Larks add 4 more runs in the bottom of the 4th inning, and they take an 11-0 lead as we will have the final 3 batters in the Cougars order up next when we come back. Just 1 inning of work tonight for Jordan Stribling, and the Larks will make another call to the bullpen as they will now start to get some of the younger guys some experience with this large lead, leading 11-0 here in the top of the 5th, as they will call in number 8, Lane Sparks. Out of the batting order tonight, but he makes an appearance on the mound, starting off against Zeke Minnick with a 1-0 count. Pitch on the way will be fouled out of play, moving the count to 1-1. Lane Sparks pitched 2 innings in his lone appearance this season. And he was the final pitcher to make an appearance in the game against the Kansas Cannons. Count now sits at 2-1. So on a line drive will go foul. As the count now stands at 2-2. The Larks pitchers have thrown a no-hitter so far. Only 3 guys have got on, and that includes a walk, a hit by a pitch, and a fielder's choice. This one goes out of play into the parking lot of doom. And Minnick had a lot of power on that previous pitch. That one probably landed in the Hayes Aquatic Park right behind us here at Larks Park. A swing and a miss, and there is the strikeout. The first of the night for Lane Sparks and his first of the season. That'll now bring up the catcher, Ethan Jackson. He got out on a drop third strike in his previous appearance on a 2-2 count. And Larks fans, we're now going to reveal tonight's trivia question. Tonight is a this or that question, that being true or false. The question is true or false. All 3 of the Hayes Larks coaches are former players. Is that statement true or not? We will reveal the answer in the bottom half of the 5th inning. It's an 0-1 count now to Ethan Jackson. Ground ball going towards Mason Hamlin. He will field it cleanly, give it over to Rios. It takes a bounce, but it is there in time for out number 2. Mason Hamlin playing third base for the first time this season, and Lorenzo Rios playing first base for the first time this season. They get the out, and there's 2 away. We'll pull up the trivia question once again if people still want to answer. It's a true or false question. All 3 of the Hayes Larks coaches, meaning Frank Leo, Andy Luton, and Keith Harper, are former Larks players. Count stands at 1-1 for the final batter in the order for the Cougars. That's Dakota Alber. Count is now tied up at 2-1. The Cougars will go back to the top of their order after this at bat. This one will go foul, moving the count to 2-2. Sparks delivers. This one will get away from Paul Smith, and now the count is at 3-2. Swing and a miss, and there is the strikeout. Or correction, that actually moved the count to 3-2. So Lane Sparks just needs one more pitch to retire the side. And that one finds the zone. He catches him looking for the second time tonight. And another 3-up, 3-down inning for the Larks. Larks went through their entire batting order in the previous inning. They're back to Jackson Babcock for the bottom of the 5th when we come back. Jackson Carbajal will make his way back to the mound as we start the bottom of the 5th inning with Jackson Babcock leading things off. 2 walks and a run scored so far for him in tonight's game as the Larks take an 11-0 lead into the bottom of the 5th. On track for another potential run rule tonight. And we'll remind you that we have our post-game player interview after this if the Larks win, which it's looking like that's going to happen right now. As Babcock is faced with a 1-0 count. We're going to interview Nick Gray for the performance he had in 3 innings. And then we're also either going to do Mason Hamlin or Dylan LaRue. Those two both have had a solid performance so far. We'll see how they do for the final few innings. And we'll interview one of them after this. Count now is 3-0 to Jackson Babcock. There is strike 1. As Babcock has had to wait patiently this entire series. That one finds the zone, and the count is now full. Babcock has been the top batter for the Larks this season, and throughout the series, the Cougars have just been trying to position the balls out of his zone. And you see it there once again. They try putting it outside. He doesn't take a swing at it, and he's walked for the 3rd time tonight. That'll now bring up the catcher, Paul Smith. He's had 2 runs scored in tonight's game. And before we get to this at-bat, we will reveal tonight's trivia question and answer. The question was just true or false. Are all 3 of the Hayes Larks coaches former players? I see 2 answers in the live chat. They both say true. You both are correct. Keith Harper, Frank Leo, and Andy Luton are all former Larks players. And all in their college days, they spent their entire time with baseball in Hayes as members of the Fort Hays State Tigers. So the count now stands at 1-1 for Paul Smith. Jackson Babcock is standing at first base, and on deck is Dylan LaRue. This one a hard hit ball into left field, but running up on it was Dakota Alber. He will make the catch for out number 1. That'll now bring up Dylan LaRue, who's scored 3 runs tonight, including a 2-run home run in his previous at-bat. With 1 out, Carbajal will deliver. This one will be hit high into the air, and this one will go out of play. Starting the count at 0-1. Ground ball going towards the shortstop, O'Connor. He'll field it cleanly, give it over to the second baseman. And they're going to call, I think they're going to call both of them out. Or actually, correction, LaRue is safe at first base by a fielder's choice. The field ump, Ethan Schwartzman, he looked at second base, called that runner out, and then turned around and put the out sign back up again. But then an appeal from home plate umpire Randy Jordan checking with him saying, is he safe or out? He confirms that LaRue is safe at first base. Babcock will make his way to third base. Or LaRue, will make his way to third base. After an error there for the Cougars. And the Larks once again taking advantage of the mistakes by the Cougars. I'll be honest, I was actually writing in my scorebook and I look up and Dylan LaRue is making his way down to third base. So that brings up Brady Kreitzer. The count will start off 0-1. Kreitzer just finished up his senior season with the Fort Hays State Tigers. He's a Hayes native that played high school baseball for TMP. Swings and misses, and the count is now at 0-2. Before arriving at Fort Hays State, he was a two-time All-State selection for TMP in his sophomore and junior season. Did not play his senior season because of the COVID pandemic, leading to spring sport cancellations at the end of the 2020 sports season. But he had a solid few seasons with the Tigers. As the count 1-2, he'll swing it into right field, and Minnick is there for out number 3. The Larks get 2 runners on and leave 1 stranded in the bottom of the 5th. We'll have the top of the 6th for you when we come back, as the Cougars will go back to the top of their order. The Larks have given an inning each to their last two relief pitchers, and they will make another call as they will bring in number 17, Adrian Nahar. Played his last season at Navarro Community College. And is making his 3rd appearance of the season. Has pitched 4 1/3 innings so far. And looking at his numbers, a 4.85 ERA on the year, 9.23 for walks and hits allowed per innings pitched, and he also has an opponent batting average sitting at 235. The Larks pitching has thrown a no-hitter so far. As Rios will field this one, he will wave off Nahar, who runs over, and there is out number 1. That'll now bring up the first baseman, Alden Quintanilla. Quintanilla tonight has a ground out and was also hit by a pitch in the 4th inning. The count will start off 0-1. This one down in the zone will move the count to 1-1. Adrian Nahar, a right-handed pitcher from DeSoto, Texas. Just finished this last season with Navarro Community College. It was committed to going to the Division I level with the Lamar Cardinals, but just a few hours ago he announced that he's decommitting. This one a line drive into center field. Trent Baker will run after it, and he will make the catch for out number 2. We've talked about the pitching doing well tonight there. Nahar gets some help from his fielders, and that brings up the designated hitter, Riley Hall. Down in the zone, this one will start the count off at 1-0. Hard delivers the pitch, and that one misses on the outside. Riley Hall gets ahead at 2-0. Hall steps back into the box, now ahead at 3-0. Finn O'Connor is on deck, so Hall will try to give him a runner to work with. That one finds the zone, and the count now stands at 3-1. On the inside part of the zone, it finds the strike zone, and it's a full count for Riley Hall. He was faced with a full count in his last at-bat. In that one, he was walked and would eventually get out on a fielder's choice. Nahara winds and deals. Hard ground ball going towards Rios. He will field it, and once again, he waves off Nahara, and he will tag first for out number 3. Another 3-up, 3-down inning for the Hayes Larks, as they are on track for another run rule victory. We'll see if they add more runs when we come back. Lorenzo Rios will lead off the bottom of the 6th inning for the Larks, and he will still face off against number 5, Jackson Carbajal, going back to the mound for the Cougars. And there is ball 1 to Lorenzo Rios. He's had 2 runs scored in tonight's game, but all 3 times that he's gotten on base tonight, he's been hit by a pitch. We'll see if he can finally take a swing at the ball, and he lines that one foul, and the count now stands at 1-1. Because of those last 3 appearances where he got hit, I don't know if it's coming through on the live stream. Larks fans giving him some encouragement here. This one he popped up going into the crowd and foul, or actually it just barely misses going over the net. But either way, the count stands at 1-2. A swing and a miss, and Rios will strike out for the first out of the bottom of the 6th inning. That now brings up the third baseman, Mason Hamlin. Left outside, the count will start off 1-0 to Mason Hamlin. He's got 3 RBIs in tonight's game, as well as 2 runs on and 2 hits in tonight. Count is now going to stand at 1-1. That one was low, but Randy Jordan's going to call it strike 2. And another Lark will get hit as Mason Hamlin, I believe that hit him on the shoulder. It was near the helmet. But he will head down to first base.
The Larks second baseman, number 1, C.J. Reed.
I'll now bring up C.J. Reed, the second baseman. He was walked on his previous appearance on a full count, and he also has an RBI in tonight's game. And a reminder to Larks fans to stick around for the post-game show after tonight's game, and we'll also have an on-field player interview. We're going to interview Nick Gray for his performance tonight. Started with 3 innings pitched and had 7 strikeouts on the night. And we're also going to interview Dylan LaRue with 3 runs scored in tonight's game, including a 2-run home run in the 4th inning. Count is 2-0 to C.J. Reed. Working with 1 out and a runner at first base, which is Mason Hamlin. Ground ball over to Olek, and an error here for the Cougars. This one will get away from O'Connor. Hamlin will make his way to third base. And Reed will stay put at first base. That'll now bring up the top of the order for the Larks. Through 6 innings, this is the 5th time they're back to the top of their order with Tabor Stokes. We'll see if history repeats itself. He's got a runner at third base. His last 2 at-bats have been singles, and in both of those, he's driven some runs home. This one will go backwards, and it'll be a foul for strike 1. Stokes will leave that one on the outside, moving the count to 1-1. Count ties up at 2-1 for Tabor Stokes. Carball takes a look back at first base. Misses this one on the outside, and the count now stands at 3-1. That one finds the inside part of the plate, and now Stokes will be faced with a full count. Stokes is ready. Jackson wants this one low and outside. It's put there, but it's a line drive, and it was caught by the third baseman, Laird. But that is only going to be 1 out recorded as Mason Hamlin gets back to third base in time. That'll now bring up the center fielder, Trent Baker. mentioned, if he can get on base right here, it'll mean that all of the Larks batters have gotten on base at least once tonight. He's had some very good hits so far, but the Cougars fielders have just been at the right place at the right time. And this one, a hard swing into center field. Roberts will track this one down, and there is out number 3. We go now to the top of the 7th inning, and unless the Cougars can score 2 runs, the Larks are going to come out with another run rule victory. We'll be back in a moment. Adrian Nahar will make his way back to the mound as the Larks just need to hold the Cougars to 1 run or less and try to come away with another run rule victory. And they will face off first against the shortstop Finn O'Connor. Nahar delivers the first pitch, high and inside for ball 1. The infielders for the Larks are going to play back a little bit, as it's a half-hearted swing there for O'Connor. It finds the zone. He didn't go around fully, but Nahar was able to find the outside part of the plate. Again, in that same spot, he finds the outside part, and Nahar working ahead in the count 1-2. Swing and a miss, and there is another strikeout for the Larks. Their 11th strikeout in tonight's game. That'll now bring up the center fielder, Blake Roberts. This one, a line drive into right field. Kreitzer will have to run up on. He makes a diving catch, and there is out number 2. What a grab by the Fort Hays State Tiger, and there's now 2 away here in the top of the 7th, as Ian Laird will make his way to the plate. Laird is 0 for 2 on the day. We'll see if he can keep the Cougars' hopes alive. Swings and misses, starting the count off 0-1. This one popped up, will go out of play, and now the count stands at 0-2. Larks fans will clap to help Nahar out. And a swing and a miss, and the Larks get another run rule victory on the season. We'll have our post-game player interview with Nick Gray and Dylan LaRue up next.
The Denver Cougars 0. Ladies and gentlemen, you've just seen a combined pitching staff no-hitter. Nick Gray, Jordan Stripling, Lane Sparks, and Adrian Nahar. 11 runs, 5 hits, no errors for the Larks. No runs, no hits, 2 errors for the Cougars. Larks now go to 7-1 on the season, 4-1 in the RMBL. They are back here on the 19th, that's this Thursday, to take on the Game Day Angels from Parker, Colorado, in a 7 o'clock start.
Meet me down at the ballpark, where I'll be.
Next up is our on-field live post-game Larks player interview with Hank Corsair.
Nothing in the world I'd rather do than grab a hot dog burger and a cold beer. You'll hear me yelling out a big cheer, 'cause whether they win or whether they lose, I'll be rooting for the Hayes Larks. Hayes Larks. I'll be rooting for the Hayes Larks. I can't wait to see a home run. I know for sure there's gonna be one. I'll call out the players by their first name. Sure am glad I made it to the game. Rain or shine, I'm gonna be there. If the stands are full, I'll bring a lawn chair. So join me down at the old ballpark. I'll be rooting for the Hayes Larks. Hayes Larks. Join me down at the old ballpark. I'll be rooting for the Hayes Larks. Hayes Larks.
All right, Larks fans, it's time now for tonight's post-game player interview with Hank Corsair, sponsored by Lewis Automotive Group in Hayes. Hank is standing on the field with a couple of tonight's stars. Hank?
Thank you, Ken. I'm here first with Nick Gray. You get the start tonight through 3 innings. You had 7 strikeouts throwing a no-hitter, and you even struck out the final 6 batters that you faced. How does that feel?
It feels great. It feels great to come out and finally pitch in front of the home crowd, you know. And combined no-no always feels good as well. I mean, everything was working, just knew how to throw strikes and good things would happen.
And you come to the Larks after redshirting this last season at Angelo State, a team that made it to the NCAA Division II Super Regional. Even though you redshirted, do you feel like that kind of helped you prepare for summer baseball?
Yeah, definitely. All the work I put in over spring just makes it easier to come out here and compete.
And let's talk about the pitching for the entire series. You guys had a great performance tonight, but throughout this series, 31 combined strikeouts in 3 games and no earned runs allowed. What was kind of your guys' approach tonight or throughout the series?
Pretty much just attack, just get ahead from the first pitch and, you know, just trust your stuff, and it just speaks for itself.
Congrats on the win tonight, Nick. Give it up for Nick Gray. I'm now here with Dylan LaRue. You got 3 runs in tonight's game, including a 2-run home run. What did you notice tonight from the Cougars?
Tonight, I mean, when the pitchers go out and do what they did tonight, it makes it really easy for all the hitters. I mean, it takes all the pressure off our backs and just let us go do what we need to do.
And that was your 2nd home run of the season. You've gotten both of your home runs when you bat 5th in the lineup. Would you say that's where you're most comfortable?
I mean, I would just say I'm most comfortable anywhere. I mean, I don't really have a preference. Just it's been working with me when I hit 5th right now, so.
And I just talked about the pitching performance with Nick Gray throughout this series. For the bats, you guys had 32 runs. What was your guys' approach to the series?
I mean, like I said again, when the pitchers give us a chance to win and go out there and compete every day, it makes the hitter's job a lot easier.
Congrats on the win tonight. Give it up for LaRue.
There you have it, Hank Corsair, along with the winning pitcher, Nick Gray, and tonight's hitting star, Dylan LaRue. Sponsored by Lewis Automotive. Check them out at buylewis.com. Our thanks to tonight's game sponsors, Balanced Health and Chiropractic, and the Hayes Masonic Lodge. Thanks for the support of Larks Baseball. Ladies and gentlemen, stick with us all week long. Thursday, we're right back here for a 4-game series, taking on the Game Day Angels from Parker, Colorado. an RMBL series. Big games coming up this week. Game time for the first 3 games of the series, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday is 7 o'clock with a 6 o'clock start time for the Sunday game. Come on out early. Hey, come on out often for all of the fun of the best summer game in town, Hayes Larks Baseball. And as you travel home tonight, ladies and gentlemen, please remember to buckle up and drive safely. We appreciate your support of the Hayes Larks.
King of the hill.
The Larks were able to bring the brooms out in tonight's game as they sweep the Cougars, winning the series and winning tonight's game by a final score of 11-0. As we welcome you into the postgame show, another strong performance from the Larks. I feel like what I'm about to say is kind of repeating myself, but it's been the same approach for the Larks this entire series. They jump out to an early lead, they get a lot of help from their pitching, and overall it just leads to another big win. They scored the first 4 runs of the game on only just 1 hit in the first inning, and then the Larks would score their other 7 runs in back-to-back innings in the 3rd and the 4th. And only 4 hits in those 2 innings. Throughout this game, the Larks just kind of took advantage of the mistakes from the Cougars. We noted entering this series that this team has improved on the batting side. It looks like they're still a little young and looking for experience in the areas in the pitching area. After a start from Christian Lopez, where he only pitched 2 1/3 innings, or 2/3 innings, excuse me. And then they had to bring in Nate Huiskin for 3 innings, and then Jackson Carbajal would finish the night off. But we'll take a look now at the performances tonight from the Larks. We just interviewed Dylan LaRue. Walked 2 times and scored on both of those, and he had a 2-run home run for 3 runs scored for him in tonight's game. Back in the 5 spot for tonight, which we talked about with him in the interview. And we also had strong performances from Paul Smith, scoring twice, as well as Lorenzo Rios. Even though he was hit 3 times, he brought home a run after he was hit and scored 2 runs on the base path. And Mason Hamlin had 2 runs as well, to go with 2 hits as well as 3 RBIs for another strong performance on the batting side for the Larks. And Nick Gray pitched the first 3 innings en route to a no-hitter from the Larks. He had 7 strikeouts through those 3 innings. Jordan Stribling had 1 strikeout in 1 inning. And Lane Sparks would also pitch 1 inning. He had 2 strikeouts. And Adrian Nahara would finish the job off in the final 2 innings with 2 strikeouts of his own and no walks allowed. And the Larks win it tonight by a final score of 11-0, improving their record to 7-1-1 on the year. Tonight's game was a non-league game, so the Larks stay put at 4-1 in RMBL play. But now, you could say after the performance that the Larks had, they're going to get some much-deserved rest. They'll be off for the next 3 days, and they'll be back on Thursday for a 4-game series with the Game Day Angels. All 4 of those games will be part of RMBL play. The first 3 are scheduled for a 7 o'clock first pitch, and the Sunday game, the final one in the series, will be a 6 o'clock first pitch. So we want to thank you all for tuning in to tonight's game, and I'm Hank Corsair saying good night from Larks Park.